Hello and welcome to Dancers Support Mission by Sabine for Shine Your Light. I would like to wish you all a very happy and healthy new year. May 2024 carry you with ease and grace towards inner peace, which is what the world needs the most, right? The more peace we can build inside of us, the more peace we will experience in the outside world. So this is why my priority in life is to create, build, and feed inner peace, despite the chaos we're experiencing on all levels these days. This takes some dedication and commitment, a bit like what it takes to be a dancer, really. And my purpose is to help others build that up for themselves too. So if you're interested, you can contact me and we can work together. So today, this is a new episode of Dancer to Dancer, Words of Wisdom. And I created this platform to meet the person behind the dancer and share with you all not only the highlights of someone's career, but also the challenges behind the scenes. Truly, my wish is to bring healing into the dance world, dancing to heal, healing to dance, one artist at a time and one personal story at a time. I do believe that storytelling gives us an opportunity to learn from another person's experience, and it can shape, strengthen, or challenge our opinions and values. Hopefully, this will allow you to embark or reflect on your own personal healing journey inspired by others' experiences. And of course, if you find those interviews valuable and interesting, please share them with your friends. And don't forget to send me some feedback. So I started this adventure in March of 2022, and today I am delighted to welcome Maren Timm as my 38th guest. I haven't been as productive lately because so much is happening in my life, and sometimes it's hard to get organized. But I'm not giving up, and I still have many people I want to hear about. So this is going to be a very interesting talk because of the depth of Maren's experiences and her curiosity and strength that led her to where she's today. So Maren, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. And I'm really looking forward to that conversation.
It's a great pleasure being here, and thank you so much. Those were very nice words you were speaking there. Thank you.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Usually what I want to hear is how you started dancing, why you started dancing, and when you decided that you would make it a profession.
Okay, so that's a deep dive into my memories, which still work, fortunately. Yeah, so why did I start? Well, I was very much drawn as a child, I guess, in the first place, to music. It was music really in the first place. I was also brought up in quite a musical family, or my father was a musician, a violinist, and then a director of music schools. But anyway, there was a lot of classical music going on in my youth, and I was very attracted to that. And then, of course, one step further is to start dancing, right? So I think I did some movement classes before that, but it was at age 8 when I did my first real classical amateur class. And I immediately loved it. I have very strong memories from that first class also.
That was in Holland.
That was in Holland. Yes, sorry for that. So I live in Holland. I am from Holland. I'm Dutch. Speak Netherlands, and so this is not my language. And then, what did you ask me? How it went? Well, after reading an ad in the paper, I think it was an ad in the paper that said, "Hey, if you're interested, come and do audition for the conservatory in The Hague, where you could audition for the school to become a dancer," which I did. To make a long story very short, I really enjoyed actually which is something you don't hear always, but I really enjoyed my whole education. And after that, it led me to dance in companies, but only for a short period of time.
So very young, you knew that this would be a great profession for you, or?
Yeah, well, as I said, music was actually my first inspiration, let's say, and I was very inspired by pianists,
Mhm.
and I thought uh, at that moment also still about the possibility of becoming a pianist.
Wow.
But I really didn't have the talent for it, I think, or well, it was not my path, let's say.
Mhm.
And um, why it became the movement, I don't know exactly. Maybe I'll never know. But I knew immediately the first time I was in a ballet class. Um, I have such strong memories from it. So I think that tells already a little bit
Yeah.
that it must have been very impressive in a nice, positive way, in a beautiful way, in a magical way.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then, at what age were you when you finished the conservatory?
It was at, I was 17 years old when I signed my contract with the company. First company I went to in Holland was Scapino Ballet, which was a very different company from what it is today.
Yeah.
It was still based in Amsterdam, and it was actually had a pretty much classical base. It was originally a company for children, but in that time when I joined, there was already a lot of changes going on. So the director changed. It used to be Armando Navarro, and that I had him as a director the first year, and then soon enough, Niels Christe
Mhm.
came and took over, and that was most of that time my director, and he introduced us to a very different repertory, also to his work, which is kind of neoclassical, I would say. And we did the classics still in the beginning, like Nutcracker and Coppelia and things like that. But I have to say also the neoclassical work was more of my gusting, so to speak. Yeah,
And he did
yeah.
beautiful pieces, Niels Christie as well.
I think he created some. For me, it was really an opening, and it gave me so many chances, and I really adored his musicality. Actually,
Yeah.
there we go again.
I
So I really
understand. Well,
love.
yeah, dance is very linked to music for sure.
Yeah,
And so, how long did you stay with Scapino?
I stayed there for 5 years.
Mhm.
And then I actually went to Zurich.
Mhm.
I felt the need to change. To I wanted to break out, um, and I think it was also part of, it just came to me. I auditioned somewhere. I can't remember exactly anymore. It's too long ago. But I ended up dancing in Zurich with the Zurich Ballet, which that time was still located at the in the opera, in the building of the opera. I don't think it's like, no, I know it's different now. They have their studios outside, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Um, and it was under the direction of the Austrian guy named Bernd Bienert, actually. Um, Not many people know that. It was just a short, a funny period in between, I think. From
For
who
Heinz
was
Sterling?
no, I think it was Heinz Burley was there before and came back actually once Bernd Bienert left.
Okay.
Heinz Burley came back, but this was already when I had stopped dancing.
So tell us what made you stop dance, basically.
Yeah, well, I was diagnosed with an illness or something we call an illness. We don't know what it is. It's an autoimmune. It's multiple sclerosis. That's the title. But it's all happened with me the last year in Zurich. I did an operation on the foot, on my heel. And after that, I actually never felt the same. And that's where it really started to become very obvious that the symptoms started to kick in. And it was just impossible to continue dancing. And then actually it took me about a year to find out, to hear from a doctor, a specialist, a neurologist, that all the symptoms I had were, well, part of MS. Or
so you don't seem to be convinced that it is MS, because it's true. I mean, they still don't really understand how it works, so it's hard to.
The only thing I'm convinced of is that they don't know what it is exactly, or where, you know. Plus, MS is such a broad term. I mean, each person that has MS has a completely different story and different outcome and symptoms. And yes, there are some overlaps, of course, but it's a very, very, very individual, personal.
Yeah, definitely.
Story.
And also it depends when it starts, when the onset, I mean, there's so many different factors. So, but just to come back to, we'll come back to this, but what would you say, despite this, the start of this illness that, of course, definitely transformed your life, I imagine, what was the most challenging thing for you as a dancer?
Before this diagnosis, of course. Well, the last few years, it was very challenging to work with physical injuries and to kind of ignore them, which I was very good at, actually.
Most dancers are very good at that.
I think so too. Yeah, and what was most challenging? Yeah, I guess it's a certain acceptance, the acceptance of this is what it is, how I am. I mean, I'm not trying to, difficult. When I go back there, I immediately feel this fight inside. I was such a fighter. I still am, but I mean,
against yourself, you mean, well, as well, right?
Yeah, wanting it to be, my willpower was just, or is enormous, and which is good, which is very good. But is it really me that is the creator, that is creating, or
it was not effortless, let's put it that way.
No.
Okay.
No.
So that, what was the challenge actually to overcome that? But were you aware of that then or not?
I was aware of it, but I took it as being normal, or that this is the way I am. And And I was very much convinced that if I would work even harder, and if I would be like, this is what I want, then that would happen. And that was the case for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
With so many things, except for the improvement of my health.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
when you say this, I feel that there's a but.
Yeah, can you explain that?
Well, because you say it served you, and so it was because, as you say, it was a quality. This willpower is amazing. We need that anyway as dancers. But where was the imbalance? Where was the, you know what I mean, the too muchness? When do we know it's too much? I mean, we don't, because that's why we keep going, right?
Yeah. Well, um, for me, the main point, the imbalance was very much the feeling that at that time that I was the one in charge, and then I mean I as the
Ego,
small I,
the ego personality.
the ego, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the ego just ignoring any any signs that were given, like an injury, instead of seeing it as, hey, it's maybe time to rest or take some time to dive in and look, or I didn't really do that, or maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I didn't get the message, let's say. I didn't get the message.
So
And I'm
if you could go back there, would you do things differently?
no. No. No, I mean, in a way, it's really those dancing years, especially in Holland, were the best years I ever. It was a beautiful time.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I liked it so much, and we had such a special group dynamic going on in those years at Scapino, especially.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And then later in Zurich, it was very, very different, but I had some very high and very low moments there. It was much more like the scenery in
Okay.
Switzerland, top of the mountain and down on the bottom of the lake.
Okay. All right. So when this happened, because it's definitely it's a crossroad, right? I mean, you cannot go on the way you did before when you have such a diagnosis. So what happened then for you?
Yeah, so it was needed to really give me such a hard, message that there was no way I could continue. I'm saying that because that's also very, you know, mm, mm, has a lot of meaning. I think it was not just a broken ankle or something. No, it was really something very, very, very deep. So, what was your question exactly? Sorry,
Like,
can
how
you
did
repeat?
you handle that
And
situation?
how did I handle? Yes, very good. Yeah. Actually, I was so much driven by mm, ambition, maybe. Ambition, I think, that I immediately thought, okay, what to do next? And then I decided I had a boyfriend, an American boyfriend, and had the possibility to move there. also because there was some medicine available that was not yet available in Europe at the time. But I immediately focused on, okay, what am I going to do now? So I didn't really mourn or something. I didn't cry, for example, about that, what had happened, or about, I didn't let the pain come in. I was like, okay, whoop, next.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Which added a layer, probably, right?
Yeah, in hindsight, yes, yes, yes. I mean, I'm not trying to be too negative about it also, because it's it's has good and bad things at the same time.
You
It's
stopped
just,
dancing from one day to another, or you kept on training, just for yourself?
no, it was really stopping dance from one day to another. Although having had a year with the operation and trying to recuperate, and it wouldn't work, and then I would go to America for 3 months to take a rest, and having the doctors tell me, oh, it's all psychosomatic, so it's in the mind, but then coming back again, trying to start again, and performing with half my body being kind of lame, and yeah, it was quite extreme, I would say. But once the diagnosis was given, I totally stopped dance. There was also no way I could continue. And but I soon enough, I gave it some time, I guess. I had a few days, I remember I was lying in bed, and I felt really yeah, not so good.
Mm-hmm.
But still, people would call me. I remember we still had telephones.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, hello.
yeah.
And good friends, and my ex-director at the time, for example, Niels Christie, I remember so well. He would call me up and be completely shocked, and I was just like, yeah, that's how it is, and more or less. But then once I came in, I had moved to New York. I of course I felt the enormous urge to still move and to still do something with the body.
Mm-hmm.
So that led me to a search into I tried different kinds of yoga, and from there I then bumped into the Gyrotonic expansion system. The White Cloud studio in New York, and yeah, that's where another story started. I was also at the same time I was studying arts management. It's called performing arts administration at NYU. But then in my free time, I would go to the White Cloud studio and exercise and work out, and yeah.
So was
That
that
was
with the idea that you could dance again, or it was just purely for your health, basically?
um I don't know if I knew I would not dance again at the level I had danced before, but I maybe thought of other forms. I was actually very interested in that time, also in theater, in becoming an actress.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I walked down the street one day from after having been at the White Cloud studio back home, I was tapped on the shoulder. Hey, can I talk to you? And it was this film director that actually gave me a script and offered me a yeah.
Did you do it?
No,
Why?
no, it was a bit smelly.
Okay.
And I read the stories after that on the internet, which we started having then.
Yeah.
And I think it was a wise decision not to.
You had a good instinct.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. Yeah, yeah. But it was funny. Funny. I always think it's funny that it came to me. You know, I was still so okay. Oh, I would love to be an actress.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
yeah.
I also actually now I think I studied acting as well at the Herbert Berghof studios or something like that. So
Okay.
that was another thing.
So then after New York, what did you do? Because did you, what I would like to know actually is like how you reshaped your life basically, because this is what you did. I mean, through things that you needed for your body, you created a new avenue for you to work as well.
Yeah, yeah. It my story or the picture of my life is a very long, slow process. So I lived for many, many years having the diagnosis, but it was absolutely not, or absolutely, but hardly visible from the outside. Like I could still function. Yes, I was fighting for myself, but I could still basically do whatever. Not everything, but I had to make some adjustments already. But I could still walk, and I remember now that, for example, I had to ask when I studied at NYU, writing, holding my pen and writing was one of the first things that became, that was not really possible anymore. So I had to adjust that, and little things like that. But so it was a very slow and gradual process. Um, but I would say I was already interested very much at a young age, actually in the human mind and reading books from actually, especially Gustav Jung, Carl
Yeah.
Gustav Jung. And of course, it was one of the first things I did when I went to Zurich. I visited the house of Jung in Küsnacht. I remember so well, and just to show that was actually a kind of a hidden interest of mine, and I started reading about this German speaking doctor also that has his theory, and yeah, I was always reading books about all those topics. Yeah, at the
So,
same
but
time.
right now because you're still practicing gyrotonic or as a teacher or as a mentor or
Not anymore at
no?
this moment. No, I also had to drop that completely, but that took a long time. I think I did the Gyrotonic. I gave classes to people for over 20 years since then, since that time in New York.
Mm.
But it became also too much. I had to turn myself literally inside out, and so I also dropped that. And it's actually quite recent that I went into this, coaching business. It came to me also. I actually met a friend, and she asked me if I would be interested to study that. And from one thing led to another thing, which
So
is
tell us a little bit about the MAP.
Yeah, MAP, which stands for Make Anything Possible. What I like about the method, so the method was based on a clinical psychologist, Dr. Flint is his name, and he's not with us anymore, but he used to work with people that had severe issues, let's say trauma, lots of big traumas. And then he actually worked with like veterans from the Vietnam War or stuff. He worked actually with the, as he says it, with the subconscious, would speak to that and give it commands, basically, and in a very gentle way, but this had some amazing results and effects.
Is it a little bit like hypnose, where you put the brain in a different state?
It goes into that direction, but it's really not. I think hypnosis is something different again, because MAP is still, you are in a relaxed meditative state. However, you are also very much in a present, you're very present, very aware,
Alert.
yeah. So it's that play that you do together with your coach of maybe a little bit the going in and out of the different states, levels.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try that, so I'm looking forward to trying that.
Nice.
And and I will leave anyway your the website to where people, if people are interested and want to try, they can, where they can reach you. It will be in the below in the
Yes.
in the description below.
Yeah, great. Yeah, best is to email me if you're interested.
Yeah.
Email, and then we see
I'll put
from
your email as well.
Yeah.
Because I think we more and more we need those kinds of help, to well, I mean, the world is really challenging right now. So it's any help we can get to stay sane and grounded and centered is very important. And we will all have a different way to achieve it, right? I mean, not every method works for everybody, but it's worth trying so that you get a taste, and then you can see if it's something that can really assist you or not.
Yeah. No, I'm also definitely not a believer in one system or one method, or no. It's so many different ways, so many different roads can lead to Rome, as they say.
Rome being what? Our center?
Yeah, being exactly. Good question. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
I'm very I'm looking forward to trying that out, and I will let people know how it was for me on my.
Great. Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And so I mean, to wrap it up a little bit, what I always ask my guests is, if you had one thing for a young dancer one advice to give to a young dancer that is starting their career, today, what would that be?
I don't know. I hear, for some reason, the word enjoy resonates very much with me. It's so difficult to say, because I see such a difference also in the young people of today. It's definitely not the same, I think, of where we were. But yeah, if I take it from my personal experience, of course, I'd say to listen to the body. That when the body is telling you something, that it's and to be open to be open and to
So actually,
enjoy.
I'm going to ask you another question, a specific question for you, because I know a lot of young dancers right now who's struggling with different issues, not, I mean, it could be an injury, it could be a mental problem, whatever. And I think the pressure is really high right now, yeah, from that perspective, not from someone who is thriving and going into their career, full on with wings, but more someone who is actually dealing with real issues. What would you tell them?
Yeah, well, I've been listening to you before, and I really liked your approach there, which is also what I use in my sessions often, is the question why? Why do you dance?
Mm-hmm.
Which often brings you to the essence, and which is actually would be a nice almost exercise maybe to
Workshop.
implement in schools. Yeah, yeah, ask it every year.
Yeah,
Make them write it down and make something out of it, or make a nice um, like a even if they want to make a painting about it or write something nice about it, you
yes,
find your why. There's even this book about it.
yeah.
But find your why, it's called. No, I think the why is important.
I think it's key, it's like, it's really like finding, if you find your why, then everything will flow, even if it's hard. But if you don't
Yeah,
have your why, whatever is hard will become a mountain to climb, and
yeah,
you'll go like, I can't do that.
yeah. Yeah, and on the other hand, taking all challenges away is also not, I think, the solution. Every one of us has challenges, and the contrast is needed, I guess, to
That's beautiful.
feel
Yeah.
that we're alive, right?
So yeah, so being reassured that the contrast is needed. I love that. It's like, remind yourself that, when you're in trouble, that's part of the journey.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
will
and
be up and
to,
down.
yeah, not immediately to see it maybe as something bad, but also have the ability, and that takes time and stillness and some going inside, and that might actually be nice to implement that more into
Yeah.
schools and give it
Well, and,
to
and planting a seed and knowing that this is the way it is, that, try to look at it that way, even if you can't right now, but just know that it's possible. And
yeah,
I think that's already
exactly.
a huge opening,
Yeah.
for our little brains.
Yeah, and I think also the feeling people can get there, that actually when they go inside, they know everything is there inside,
Yeah.
and they don't have to, it's of course you want to listen to your teachers and to the people around you and others.
Yeah.
However, in the end, it's
The
really
answers are
inside.
within.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes you very powerful, I think. Once you powerful in the yeah, in the
Yeah.
beauty of power, or
Yeah.
we call it love or whatever, which is also that which dance is, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're gonna finish there because we're gonna it's the end of our
Okay.
time. Thank you so much. I really appreciate and love what you said at the end. It's wonderful. I hope people can think about that and be inspired, and go like this. Great. All right.
Well,
So
thank
thank
you
you
for
so much.
asking the questions, because that helped me.
And
It's you see, it's not coming from one. It's really about
an
this,
exchange.
this giving taking, because you asked the right questions, really perfect. So thank you for that. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thanks, Sabine.